Welcome back to my podcast. For those who don't know me, my name is Jocelyn Peralta, and this is Healing with a Chingona. I'm annoyed. This is like me recording again, or the 10th time recording. The first 3-4 times that I recorded was a completely different subject. And right now that I feel like I got it together, I go back and check the audio. And the audio was not recording from my microphone. It was recording from a camera. And you could hear the dee of the camera when it was focusing, unfocusing, and all that stuff. And I was like, ugh, I don't want it. Like, I don't want the low quality sound. So I'm recording again. Ugh, but let's do it, okay? So what I was going to talk about this time around was the whole focusing on the positive, having a positive mindset when you're going through so much in general. And it can be a lot. What I had mentioned earlier when the audio thing went on, it was that I've been going through a lot recently. That's why I've been MIA. I am back. I'm here now. I'm going to try and be more consistent as much as I can. When I'm going through it, just know that I'm not going to be here. I'm not going to put up a front that I'm doing good when I'm not. So I take my break. I'm trying to learn to be more present even when there's things going on, just so I could just be consistent in that moment. So the thing that I've been dealing with recently, and just so I could give you guys a little headspace, some stuff, is right now that I've been dealing with some stuff with friends, with family, with myself as a mother, and so on. It's a lot as a wife. I've been dealing with so much, and it's been hard trying to understand how do I go. And I'm sorry if you guys see the whole swift shift in the light, is because the sun keeps going down and it's just messing up with it. I might have to get myself a good camera because is messing it up. Anyways, so one of the things that I've been dealing with and is the whole thing with a car lease. I had a car lease. I desperate needs called for desperate measures, and I got myself a car lease like 4 years ago. And basically this is the last month. I pay attention to contracts because these contracts be sneaky as fuck. So I end up being fucked in one way or another. Now I'm owing like almost $1,400 of excess miles that I went over because things were not, explained. I didn't really know, but a learning lesson. I am understanding a little bit more now if I were to ever get into that position, which I'm never going to do it again. But cada quien aprende, ¿me entiendes? So either way, the car came into my life when I most needed it, and I'm grateful for that. But it was a lot. Yesterday I did a lot of crying because I was like, man, we're barely getting back on our feet. We're barely doing this. We're barely doing that. We barely got down on, on certain stuff. And now here we're going up again. No puede ser de que after one thing, something always happens. Which that's something that we always end up telling ourselves. Like, siempre que algo bueno pasa, algo malo termina pasando. Or you were always expecting the worst. So that's one thing that I was really having issues with. Like, I don't have the money in my bank account to pay $1,400, $1,600 of excess miles or whatever fees and all this bullshit. So I was upset, but I came to realize that, sabes que al final de todo, the car was in my possession when I needed it the most. It took me from point A to point A to point B to C, and all this, whatever I needed to go, it was there. So I am grateful for that. So now I'm good. I am just like, sabes que, my life is not that bad. It's whatever. It's otro bill I gotta pay. Thankfully I have a job that I'm able to pay for what I need to pay. But it was still hard to understand that damn, there's another $1,600 of money that I need to pay someone. Somebody's getting money from me, and I'm gonna have, I was going through this loop. Pero ya me estoy mejor. So I talked to my husband. I'm like, what do I need to record? And he's like, talk about having that faith. So here I am. I trying to remember what I was saying earlier as well. But it's hard. It's hard. I also took a break because I was dealing with a lot with my husband. Because for those who don't know, my husband is also in process of immigration for him to get a work permit and all that stuff, the petition through marriage. And it's been a lot years, something that we're trying to figure out. And si Dios quiere, todo le sale bien. And it's hard for somebody to get a job cuando no tiene papeles, ¿me entiendes? So it's been a couple months, like a month or two, where it's only myself. Like, you figure it out and got certain préstamos here and there. But most of the time it was me figuring it out. And I talked about that with my mom last week, where it's just like, I'm very independent. And my mom raised me to be independent, and she would say all the time, Jocelyn could do that, Jocelyn puede hacer esto, que no necesita ayuda, que yo no tuve que estar ahí por Jocelyn, que no sé qué tanto, and all that stuff. And I told her this week, and I'm like, I didn't need that. I needed you to be there. I know you were busy with your other kids were in Honduras, and you being a single mom and so on, but I needed my mom, and you were not there in that way. You were there in the masculine way of like, you have a roof over your head, you tienes comida, that's it. But I needed you more than that. Estaba. So, I told her I'm grateful though. I'm grateful that for that I am always able to figure it out, even though at times I get stressed. Because when a bitch is stressed, I am not the same. I'm not the same. Que todo va a estar bien. I'm like, fuck this, fuck that, fuck you, fuck them. Todo ese tipo de cosas, I turn into somebody else. So, under the stress with the whole thing with my husband, it was me trying to figure it out. And I told her, I'm like, I'm grateful because, I'm grateful because soy independiente por ti. Aprendí a ser independiente. And at times I don't allow my husband to show up. I am where I'm at now in my business as well, because even though I complain about El Toxico sometimes, but this man has been my number one support through so much. He has been the one that motivated me to start again, because I had stopped. I would do my 9 to 5, go home and get on lives on Facebook. For those that know, I started on Facebook, and then sleep late trying to figure out, talk to people. My rates back then, when I started doing readings in private, was like $20, which is not bad. So it was something that I was trying to figure out. I took a break because I was going through so much as well. So now that I restarted, I went through a rebrand. My husband is the one that pushed me to be where I'm at. He's like, no lo haces porque tú no quieres. A lot of the times we focus on all the negative things that we don't realize how blessed we truly are. And I want you guys to be able to work on that now that I'm talking to you about this. Because, and I said it previously before all this audio thing went wrong, because we don't realize how blessed we truly are. We focus so much on the negative, that esto no está saliendo, that this is not going the way that I planned it, that financially I'm stuck, that I'm not this, that I'm not that, that I'm not da 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 da. You're focusing on all this knots, the knots, the obstacles, and you can't see beyond the hump, the lump or the obstacle, and you're so focused on all that negative shit. So this is what I'm telling you guys. We need to start being more positive. It could be hard, yes. It is hard. It can be hard, but it's not impossible to see the beautiful things in life. A lot of people talk about it's greener on the other side. It's not greener on the other fucking side, sis or bro. It's not. It could be greener on your side because you are your own garden and you don't water it. Water your own garden and you will see it become this beautiful greenery, beautiful flowers. It starts growing because you're attending it. So you start attending your own garden. You are your own garden. Don't focus on the other vecino's green garden. So one thing that I wanted to tell you that I said earlier is that we don't see how blessed we truly are. You wake up in the morning and you don't realize who's taking their last breath as you're waking up. You're complaining that your kids, if you have kids, are waking up at 6 in the morning, or you have to, I have to wake up and take the bendiciones to school. You don't realize who has lost theirs. You're complaining because you're tired of this job that you could easily change, but you don't want to. But you don't realize who just got let go from their job. You are stressed because the rent is coming up, and you have the means to pay it. If you do, you have the means to pay it, but you're complaining that you have to pay $1,300, $1,400, or to $2,000 or however much that you pay, but you have a roof over your head next month or this month that's coming up. You're complaining because of the car note. You're complaining because of this. You're complaining about that. But it's stuff that you got yourself into, but you have it. You're paying for something that you're using, and we don't realize, and we're not grateful sometimes for that. It's hard, yes, but you're blessed. You don't realize that maybe all you're eating today is Maruchan, but there's other people that don't even have a Maruchan to eat. You're complaining that your bill was only, it was $150, or your gas or your light, whatever, is $150. But you have light, you have gas that some people don't. We have to start being more blessed for what we have. And it could be hard when you're going through so much. It could be frustrating when you're going through one thing to another. But that's something that you could change. If you're not happy where you are, then move. Stop settling for less. Manifest for more than enough. Some of us just manifest $100 because that's what I need in that moment. Why don't you manifest 100 plus? Live your life to have more than enough, not just enough. And that's what I'm hearing. A lot of people are just manifesting what they need. But sometimes you need more than just that. You need to live that life of the lavish life. Not the lavish life, but, manifesting more than just enough. Stop settling for just enough and go for more. Another thing that I could tell you guys is, me, like I said, I was struggling so much with being the head of household for the last couple, month or two. It was me trying to pay this, pay that, figure it out, using my savings, being that, and I would be so mad at my husband. And my independent masculine side would tell him shit that I regret now. And I'm glad that I'm able to talk to him about that. But I'm opening up to be more vulnerable, because when I'm on stress, I'm somebody else. And I said it, when I'm on stress, I could be a bitch. When I'm under stress, I don't give a fuck about your feelings. I am just like, man, let me figure this shit out. Is because I learned it from my mom. When she's under a lot of stress, she figures things out. Y ahí de ahí lo aprendí, la doña lo aprendí. And I would be so hard on my husband. I would tell him stuff that he did not need to hear from me. And he would tell me, like, how do you think I feel? Like, I want to be able to help you. And don't get me wrong, when he's good and he's been working and he's able to manage it, he helps me a lot. Obviously, everybody has a different point of view in relationships. My husband and I are in this relationship where most of the time, especially if we're both trying to figure it out, we go halfsies. And I don't really care if you're like, oh my God, ¿cómo está en una relación? And she's only doing halfsies as a roommate. Now, that's to my man's. He helps me a lot, even when he's good. Especially when he's good, he does help me a lot. He pays a lot of stuff. And he supports me as much as he can. But when we're both trying to figure it out, we go halfsies, because he has other bills that are not my. That's something that we have. My bills are my bills and his bills are his bills. But when it comes to light or rent or this or what, things that we share together, we go halfsies. But when it has to do with his car insurance or when it has to do with his car note, that's a him problem. And, my car note is my me problem. Unless I really need the help or he needs the help, I'll help him. But, besides the point is that he helps me a lot when he's good. And right now that I had to be put in that position where I had to be the head of household, my masculine energy was like, fuck this. I don't need to be dealing with this. I don't need to be doing that. And it's my stress. It doesn't allow me to see it. But stress could be a fucked up factor when we don't allow ourselves to see the good things. Because thank God, I'm able to provide for my son, provide for my family. And si Dios quiere, when, it's time right, my husband is able to provide for us as well. So it's always that part where I was focusing so much on the negative of like, I gotta figure it out, how to pay this bill, how to pay that bill, how to pay that. Me estaba dando cuenta de que, bro, like, I have a roof. We still have a roof over our head. We have food on our table. We're waking up every morning. We have a bed to sleep on. And a lot of us stress a lot about finances. But there's just a shift that needs to happen within you. Like, what needs to change to better ourselves? How do I stay positive when there's so much going on? And yeah, it's hard when if it's not one thing is another. And we've been going through that as a family with my husband right now. The whole thing with the lease payment, and then the cash card that I got needs to be, things need to change. And it's just like a lot of like extra expenses that we don't need, but we also realize that, at least we have a car. At least we have this. At least we have the money. At least, it's like, tenemos esto, estamos agradecidos que tenemos lo otro. And that's something that we need to start focusing on. Like I said earlier, there's a lot of stuff that you're complaining about the negative, and we're seeing everything with a microscope or whatever. And we're focusing on so much of the negative that we don't realize that life is not that bad. Life is not that bad. It could be worse. Some people are going through worse things than you are, and you're focusing because you didn't have an extra $5. I mean, you could borrow some money. Or you're focusing on, man, I didn't get this job. Maybe the job wasn't for you. I've said it so many times that we focus so much on the what I want. And sometimes what you want is not what you need. And that's true. Like, a veces lo que tú necesitas, a veces lo que tú quieres no es lo que tú necesitas. And you get so upset that you can't get what you want. You also focus on like, oh, I got bills. I got this. I got credit cards to pay. I'm in debt. Get away from calling it debt, because now you're allowing yourself to be in that mental state of like, I'm just in debt. I have a lot of bills to pay myself. If I were to get into numbers, I owe collectively with the credit cards that we have $3,000 on one, almost $1,000 on another one, and then I'll owe something else like $2,000, and now the whole lease thing is another $114. $1,400. So it's just like, things, man. It's just like, damn, if I had this money, I'll put a down payment on a house right now. But no, I'm paying credit cards. I'm paying this. But start seeing, yeah, it sucks because the interest and stuff. But when you use that credit card, you used it when you needed it. When maybe you didn't have gas money, you use your credit card. When you didn't have food, you used the credit card. When you couldn't pay a bill, you use your credit card. So you're paying back what you used in that time to be where you're at this moment. So don't see it as it's just debt. You used it once. You use that credit card and thank God you have a possibility to get a credit, because some people don't have credit. Some people don't even have a chance to say, okay, I'm gonna use my credit card right now because I don't have cash. You had that opportunity. That's what the way that I'm seeing it. I had that opportunity to use a credit card. I'm now paying back what I used because I used it at one time. The same thing with the car. It's just hard. Every little small thing counts. You find a lot of people talk down on, I don't carry cash, but a lot of people talk down on pennies, quarters, 5 cents, and all that stuff. So it's something that sometimes we see a penny in the on the street. We don't want to pick it up because it's just a penny. Who's gonna do it with a penny? It's still a blessing. It's a penny that you did not have. Now you're $13.99, $13.99 turned into 14. Now you got $14, not 13 only. So it's just like seeing the positive in things. You have a life. You're waking up today. No sabes quién no tuvo la dicha de despertarse hoy. Tú no sabes quién acaba de tomar su último respiro, and you're complaining because you gotta go to work. If you don't like your job today, the job that you are in at this moment, look for a different job. Nobody's stopping you but you. Life doesn't get better because you're focusing on the negative, and it could be hard to be positive when things are going back to back to back. But it all starts with you. Change starts with you. I am still figuring things out. I'm still trying to understand some stuff. But the more you focus on the negative, the more stuck you feel, because it's just this. This is just the negativity. The negativity piles up and it piles up and it piles up. But allow yourself some space to release and focus on, like, ¿sabes qué? Tengo mi cafecito. Thank you, Diosito. Puedo tomar café. Thank you, Diosito. I'm in my house. Thank you. I could do this. Be grateful for everything that you have and be open to the good things that are happening. Don't focus on just the negative. And if something negative is happening, what is the solution? That's something that you need to focus on. There's always a solution. Don't focus just on the problem. How can you move forward from this? How can you get out of this obstacle and look for better or be better? So tell yourself this and repeat it after me if you need it. I am allowed to create the life that I desire. I am allowed to be financially stable. I am allowed to see the blessings in my life. I am grateful for what I have and for what is yet to come. Life is what you make it. Be grateful for what you have. Life is not that bad. Yes, we have obstacles, and sometimes we don't learn in the first setting. Maybe we had to go through it two to three times, but give yourself a chance to finally let go. Give yourself a chance to heal. You deserve it. You deserve to be free. Create the life that you desire and that you need. Don't force things. Don't force people to be with you. Don't expect people to do what you do for them. Worry about you and bettering yourself. If something's not working out for you, find the solution. Everything's in your hands. It all starts with how your mentality is. If you focus on the negative, if you, as you guys know, the math, I'm not a mathematician and stuff, but two negatives don't make a positive. So don't put your negative life into, and then add your negative mentality. There's nothing positive coming from that. How do you change the negative and turn it positive? Turn the negatives into positives, and you'll see life changing. And I've talked about this before. I used to have a job, and I'm so grateful for this lady. I used to have a part-time job, but it was not doing enough. It was only making me basically part of my car note. I was making like less than $1,000 a month, and that's nothing. That was like last year. And I took myself seriously. I started working on myself. I started talking to my guides, mi santita y todo. And I was like, I don't deserve to be struggling. I'm struggling. I'm this. I had to take my son to work, and now being in a cubicle with him was very underwhelming, overwhelming. Because spending his summer at a job with me, it sucked last year, And it's different when we're at home and he could just roam around and do whatever he wants in the house. But being in the office with him, it was a lot. So I went from making under $1,000 a month to believing in myself, working myself, telling that I am capable of this, and I started making more. There's times, depending there, everybody has good days. Some days are not good, some days are not, not that well. But I went from less than $1,000 a month last year to 2,000, sometimes 3, 5 if I wanted to. So life is, like I said, life is what you make it and how much you believe in yourself. If you feel like you deserve to be in this space, then that's something you need to start changing. If you know that you deserve more, what needs to be done in your behalf to get that more? What needs to change within yourself to make that possible positive change and get the income that you deserve, get the freedom that you're looking for? If it's a relationship that is holding you back, leave the relationship. If it's the baby daddy and you're not happy in this relationship, leave them already. If it's your job, change the jobs. If you're not making enough, then change the job. Start a side hustle, start a business. All the solutions are within yourself. But you need to start believing in you, but be grateful for what you have. Las malas rachas no son para siempre. Little obstacles here and there, or obstacles in general, are not forever. It's what you do to get out of that funk. So what are you going to do next? What are you struggling with, and what can you change to make life a little bit more better for yourself? What needs to change in your mentality to feel more positive? What are you grateful for today? What are you grateful for tomorrow? What are you grateful for this month? Be more conscious about, and be more aware, not just conscious, be more aware of your blessings, and don't really focus only on the negatives. Love yourself. Love the life you have. Love yours. Los quiero un chingo. Que tengan un hermoso día, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye, guys.